Caller 10 right now, 609-573-ESPN, 609-573-3776. Caller 10, tell us today's Sixers keyword of the day. If you know it, you automatically win a pair of tickets to the Sixers-Knicks game, a round of golf at the Mays Landing Country Club, and you're qualified for the grand prize. You'll be on the floor, Sixers-Knicks, and you'll sit with Tom McGinnis as he calls the play-by-play. Plus, you get a year membership to the Mays Landing Country Club. You must be present to win. Caller 10, what is today's Sixers keyword of the day? Good luck, 609-573-3776. All right, Dave Weinberg from the Press of Atlantic City. The Philadelphia Eagles getting ready for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Sam Bradford, separated shoulder, Dave. Let me start off with this question. What do you get a sense either way that the players, think one guy is a better option, they like this guy better than that guy? Have you not got that feeling yet? Where do you stand on that?
No, I don't think that they have a preference either way. They're so down, I guess, and desperate that they're willing to take Todd Lewis if that's what it takes to get a win. At this point, I don't think they care who's at quarterback. They're just trying to find answers to the problems, and then no matter how they can do it, they're willing to try it.
Because it sounded like a lot of the guys yesterday were kind of, at least saying, well, Sanchez has a little bit more fire, Sam's a little bit more reserved. I don't know that leans one way or another, but it's almost like, hey, at this point, I'm almost willing to see if something changes with Mark Sanchez playing quarterback.
Yeah, I can buy that. I mean, I've been, as you probably know, I've been kind of campaigning for a couple of weeks now that Sanchez deserved the opportunity. Although I thought Sam had been playing pretty well up to the point he got hurt last week. So, but I think Sanchez does bring a little bit of a spark, maybe. There was no question that the offense was moving much faster with him than they were with Sam before he got hurt. And I also think that Mark has an extra year in the offense, so he knows it that much better. Plus, I think he gives at least the appearance of mobility that makes defenses kind of like hesitate almost, whereas, Sam wasn't able to move much at all, and there was really no threat of that read option offense when he was there.
Yeah, and, it seemed like Sanchez looked comfortable getting in there. A little bit of rust with the running game. There was a couple handoffs and stuff, but moved the ball pretty well. He realistically should have had 2 touchdown passes that got one negated by just a poor effort by Miles Austin, the other one an offsides or illegal shift by Riley Cooper. So, I thought Sanchez played pretty well for not playing since last year, really.
Yeah, and that interception, there was no question that was a lousy throw, but if Miles Austin had even made like a half-hearted attempt to catch it, I think he might have been able to come down with it or at least knock it down. But he almost gave up on it. I didn't quite understand that, but you're right. He also should have had that touchdown catch in the back of the end zone. And Ronnie Cooper made just a really stupid mistake, which in his defense, he kind of admitted it yesterday too. So, but yeah, I think Mark played a little bit better than what his statistics show, although he does have that reputation for turning the ball over in crucial spots, and he lived up to that reputation, unfortunately, on Sunday.
Yeah, no doubt. Dave Weinberg's with us. In your action, they're saying that it's a separated left shoulder, but that Sam wants to try to play. I guess he's got to pass the concussion stuff. But if he doesn't have a concussion, he's cleared. Will he play on Sunday, or do they just say, you know what, let's just try to play this extra safe, and maybe Mark Sanchez gives us a spark?
I'm thinking they're going to give him the next 2 games off. Only he took a beating against the Dolphins. He really did. I mean, he was getting hammered on almost every play. And I think just to err on the side of caution, if his shoulder's not completely healed, I know it's his non-throwing shoulder, but that's a pretty painful injury. He still hasn't passed that concussion protocol. Typically takes, a couple of days to do unless it's a real slight concussion. And this tells me the fact that he didn't practice Tuesday or today tells me that it might be a little bit more serious than that. So I would start him again. I would start Sanchez against the Buccaneers, and I'd also start him against the Lions, even because it's just such a short turnaround on Thanksgiving. So I would just let Sam sit back a little bit for these next 2 games, get healthier, and maybe then come back with him after that.
Dave, Ryan Matthews did not practice. He remains in the protocol. Looks like a long shot, I guess, to play. I mean, at least Bradford looks like he's been walking around. I don't think there's been any sign of Matthews. How would his loss affect this offense?
Ryan Matthews?
Yeah.
A lot, I think. As we've often discussed, he's been the more effective running back to this point, more so than DeMarco Murray. So without him, it's going to allow the Buccaneers to just focus on DeMarco without having to worry about Ryan coming in. And I guess they're supposed to be both. They're supposed to be the same type of running back, but Ryan has been much more successful, really, more decisive, running harder. DeMarco, I almost thought that he was like getting out of his funk, but the last game he was back to that dancing around, trying to look for holes that aren't there. Didn't seem to be really in sync with the offensive line. The offensive line was awful on Sunday. It was just terrible. Maybe if they don't have Jason Peters back on Sunday, I'm not sure that's going to make any difference against the Buccaneers.
Well, let's get to him then. What about Jason Peters? A lot of weird stuff about him, and that they wanted to play him, but he didn't want to play, and then they refuted that. Now he's not at practice today. Where do you stand with Peters?
That's a good question. There was a report, I guess, from Howard Eskin maybe that Peters was. I saw him warming up on the sidelines or at the end zone before the game. And but then it turns out he wasn't activated, and Howard had reported that Peters wanted to start, and Kelly didn't want him to. So he said, "Well, if I'm not starting, I'm departing." I guess straight up, but he just he didn't want to play unless he was going to be out there in the beginning. And from Jason Peters, I can kind of understand that. I mean, he's a 7-time Pro Bowler. He's considered the best left tackle in the league. If he says he's well enough to play, then you play him. You start him. You don't make him come off the bench for, Lane Johnson, Dennis Kelly. I mean, that's just ridiculous, I think so. But for the same token, he's a member of a team, too, so you pretty much are supposed to do what's best for the team. And if Kelly thought that he should be better served coming off the bench, I guess maybe he should have done it. But they desperately need him on Sunday. I don't know what the status was of. I don't know why he wasn't there today. Chip didn't kind of offer much of an explanation. I didn't see Jason in the locker room after practice, so I guess it's just a mystery that's not going to be solved until Sunday.
A lot of mysteries may not be solved for a while with this team. It has been a pull your hair out type of season with this one here. Dave Weinberg from the Press of Atlantic City also was inducted into the New Jersey Boxing Hall of Fame. Seemed like a nice ceremony. That's a pretty tremendous award for you, Dave. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you very much, Mike. It was really it was a special experience. That, as I might have mentioned before, not just going in, but being inducted with Bill Johnson and John Brown, who are two of the legends in boxing in Atlantic City. They were also part of the ceremony, so that kind of made it even more special for me.
Let me ask you, we've got some interesting fight stuff. You got the Cotto fight coming up this weekend with Canelo,
yeah,
and
sure.
Get your thoughts on that one, because obviously that's a pretty high-profile fight.
Yeah, it is. That's a shame it's out in Atlantic City. They can't seem to draw anything anymore, and it really breaks my heart, quite honestly, because they used to be the boxing capital of the country, and now there's been nothing at Boardwalk Hall since the Kovalev-Hopkins fight about almost over a year ago now. So, but as far as Alvarez and Cotto goes, that's going to be a really action-packed fight. That you're going to see a better fight than you did with Mayweather and Pacquiao. I mean, people were all obviously disappointed in the way that transpired. That's not going to be the case with these two guys. They're both very aggressive fighters. They come right at you. They have heavy hands. They can drop you with one punch. So I think it's going to be a really action-packed fight, and I would have to think that Canelo is going to come out with the victory.
All right, that one should be entertaining. As I agree with you. I think it's going to be a lot of action in that fight. Those two guys really like to stand toe-to-toe. That one should be fun. It's Saturday night, Canelo Alvarez against Miguel Cotto, and obviously we'll see what's next in the back half in the last a couple of months of the year into the early 2016. Anything big planned in the boxing world?
Not for Atlantic City, if that's what you're asking me. Yeah, I was actually talking with some officials about a week ago, and It seems to be that because Caesars is going through their bankruptcy, they're not able or willing to shell out the money to bring a big fight to Boardwalk Hall. And I'm really disappointed in the other properties that no one else has kind of stepped up. Maybe Borgata or somebody, or Tropicana or somebody. I would think that they might be interested in getting into the boxing game again, but so far that's not been the case. So unless they give Ken Condon, who's pretty much the guy who books all the fights for Caesars at Boardwalk Hall, unless they kind of give him the go-ahead to make Atlantic City a player in the boxing game again, it's just going to be, just these smaller shows like the one that's coming up at the Clarence in a couple weeks. And, they're okay, and, it's better than nothing, but there's nothing like, as you well know, there's nothing like a big-time fight at Boardwalk Hall, and I really miss them, and I hope that they can find a way to bring one back soon.
Yeah, and watching the Chasing Tyson the other night, just forgetting that Holyfield fought George Foreman in the Hall, and seeing all Alex Stewart and Tyson, that they had fights at that level in that building and in the not so recent past. But as you said, it kind of breaks your heart that they couldn't get they can't get something, even it doesn't even have to be the highest of high profile, but something to fill the building to about 80% capacity on a Saturday night would be fantastic. But you don't see anything in the near future.
Yeah, no, and that Sergey Kovalev, who beat Hopkins, he wants to make Atlantic City his home base. His promoter, Kathy Duva, has made that pretty clear, but the cost is just so prohibitive with union labor and that kind of stuff. And from what I can gather, the Atlantic City just doesn't seem to be in any big hurry to accommodate them. And they're not asking for the moon. They want to be here, but for whatever reason, it just doesn't seem like that's going to happen. And that's really a shame, because you have fighters and you have promoters who want to do business in Atlantic City. I was with Oscar De La Hoya at the Hall of Fame dinner. He's made it clear that he wants to make Atlantic City kind of a player again, but it has to be worth a while, and it just doesn't seem like that's the case right now.
Good stuff. Dave Weinberg, press of Atlantic City, New Jersey Boxing Hall of Fame, and covers the Eagles, has for a long, long time. And, of course, the Eagles on Sunday against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, trying to get themselves back to 500, which would temporarily put them in first place in the NFC East. All right, Dave, good stuff as always. Thanks, pal.